Hello, ma'am.
Hello.
I think I'm perfectly visible and audible to you.
Yes, yes.
Okay. Thank you so much, ma'am, for giving this opportunity to have you on my podcast today.
Okay. Yeah, thank
Yeah.
you for giving this opportunity. Yeah.
Yeah. So, ma'am, the first thing that I want to ask you is, how was the pandemic of being a police personnel?
Um, I guess what I would say is that for other people, pandemic was much more like pandemic, and for police person, it was much more like, normal work. So the police people, we couldn't afford to sit in our home and wait for the pandemic to get over and think, okay, protecting ourselves is our first priority. We had to be on the road, like, not talking about myself, I'm talking about me and the whole police department of all the states and all over country. So we had to be out there and on the roads, protect other people while everybody is human and everybody have their safety on the mind, so overcoming that and continuing doing your own duty. So the pandemic was challenging in that way, and it was as usual while it was not work as usual for other people. So yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
So, ma'am, due to your work ना, you need to do a lot of things with a teamwork, है ना? बहुत सारे लोगों को लेके आपको कभी कभार काम करना पड़ता है. So I
Absolutely.
want to ask like what's the ice breaking moment जब आप बहुत सारे लोगों को लेके काम करते हो, क्योंकि कुछ लोग somebody your subordinate might think कि मैं ये बोलूँ मैम को अच्छा लगे ना लगे, sometimes your senior. So what's the ice breaking moment you follow?
So, I mean, there's no particular way, there's no chart you have to follow. It's just you have to be approachable and acceptable to their ideas and what they are
Hmm,
saying. And while,
hmm,
of course, keeping a principal distance so that they know, okay, like, that's how the things are done. But if you are approachable and if you listen to their ideas, respond to them, then definitely, I mean, I feel people open up and they
hmm,
develop trust with you. You just have to give this, assurance that you can trust and you
huh,
can just, open up with us. So that is the only way I would say. You have to converse with them. You have to be approachable when they come to you for, say, holidays and for, say, little needs. You have to be a little bit sensitive and
hmm.
listen to their problems too. So that definitely helps. Yes.
Okay. So
Hmm.
and as a person, how are you? Like a bit away from social media?
Yeah, I mean, I am a little bit, I mean, I'm not like no use social media kind of person, but
Hmm,
not a lot of use social media kind of person too.
huh,
So, I mean, my profile is not public, it's private, but, but yeah, I mean, I put photographs and all on private profile and that's it, and otherwise not publicly very interactive without any reason. Yeah.
okay. And so I just want to know about your born and brought up, where the most of the time has been.
Yeah, so I was born in Ghaziabad, Uttar Pradesh,
Huh.
and I've been brought up there only. My family stays there still, and my education till graduation has been there in Ghaziabad only. And from after completing my graduation, I did MSc, and that I did in biotechnology from IIT Roorkee. After
Oh,
that, yeah. So after that, I was pursuing PhD in Delhi for some time, and with
uh,
that only I started preparing. Meeting a few people, friend circle,
uh,
who were also preparing. That sort of gave me a little bit of confidence. Okay,
uh.
okay, yeah, maybe I could do it too. So,
I
uh,
actually I also did biotechnology. That's why I give that reaction.
okay, oh,
Mm,
nice, yeah.
yeah, but I don't know. Like I still those subjects give me goosebumps. There were I think molecular biology,
Yes, yes.
biomedics. Yeah, there's a lot of maths in it, man. I
Biochemistry,
didn't.
cell biology. Even
Ah,
my memory has started to fade. It's been a long, long time. But yeah, I did prepare with botany, so I have been
hmm,
in touch with the subject for much longer than, matlab,
acha.
you would usually stay. I was doing PhD also, so yes.
So how this thought came to become into like bureaucracy?
So, like, to tell you quite frankly, there was no aspiration per se to
Uh,
come into bureaucracy or to aspire for civil services also. To begin with, what I was searching for some sort of economic security, and I was
hmm,
searching for a nice job. That was all how it started. So after graduation, even when I was in MSc, so I was like, okay, if I get a private sector job, a nice enough job, that will do for me. I will,
हाँ
I'll settle. That won't be a
हाँ
problem. But then when I passed my MSc, which was a long time ago in around 2009, so that was the time of recession and the jobs were
ओ
scarce and things were not very good on the economic front. So then I joined PhD. I had my net, which I had cleared the scholarship. And then I joined PhD. And then while doing PhD, I felt that it was not something of my interest, as much of my interest as much needs to be. And then again, I'm telling you, I'm searching for a little bit of economic security because I come from a
हाँ
family where financial troubles have been present since childhood. So what I
ओ
wanted was to have a job, I have a constant salary and be comfortable in my life. So after entering into the PhD, what I wanted was like, okay, let me get a job and where can I get that job? So I gave all sort of exams. I gave IBPS for bank probationary officer. I gave
हाँ
SSC. I gave, SBI probationary officer and whatnot. I was giving all sort of examinations. But then as I was studying and things were working out and I gave my first attempt, and I cleared prelims and I cleared mains and I got interview call in my first attempt. So that sort of gave me the confidence that maybe I can do it. And so I kept rest of the examination on the sideline and I started investing my time into it properly. And then I got into forest service first in 2014.
हाँ
And just that was my first attempt for forest service, not for civil services. And I got the forest service. And after getting into forest service and after spending around 2, 3 years in that, I had that thing in my mind that I've never prepared like properly, and I really wanted to prepare properly to know if I would be able to clear this exam or not. And so I started preparing again, and finally in 2017 I got into IPS. So
ऐश्वर्या डोंगरे
after
मैम ने
coming into
just
service, I
messaging me.
started appearing. Yeah, okay.
Okay, okay. You continue.
Yeah. No, so it's just I was just saying कि, so the dream was not civil services. The dream was to have a good job, and I ended up maybe getting the best job in the country. So fate has its ways, and I'm grateful, of course.
मैम इन बिटवीन आप एक चीज बोल रहे थे कि मेरे फैमिली फाइनेंशियली इतना स्टेबल नहीं थे जब व्हेन यू वर प्रिपेयरिंग ड्यूरिंग योर डेज. सो आई वांट टू आस्क यू लाइक
Hmm.
एक स्ट्रगल होता है हर किसी का कि जिंदगी में कुछ करने का बट साइड बाय साइड व्हेन यू सी द फाइनेंशियल इंस्टेबिलिटी इन योर फैमिली उसका एक अलग प्रेशर होता है. सो हाउ वाज इट इन योर केस एंड यू क्रैक्ड यूपीएससी ना फर्स्ट गो.
I cracked forest service in first go. My this civil services exam was my fourth attempt.
ओके एंड हाउ यूज्ड टू हैंडल दैट फाइनेंशियल एबिलिटी क्योंकि एक अलग
No,
प्रेशर होता है ना कि जिंदगी में जल्दी सेटल होना है.
no, of course there was a pressure. So, well, pressure was driving force also. That would, motivate me to work harder because I knew like I cannot afford not to work harder. So I worked, quite a lot and struggled quite a lot at that time. And of course, a lot of times you feel like giving up. But, my family was with me and things were working out. So I would say that in one way, I mean, if things were not working out, maybe I would feel much more demotivated. But when I was putting in effort, things were working out. So I had that positive mindset and that positivity in my life. Ki, okay, maybe on one front things are not that good, but when I am putting an effort into something, things are working out. So let me just continue. And that's what I learned, like with life slowly, that perseverance is a quality. If you just continue, doing something, one thing or another, then you end up at a good place eventually, you know. Uh, you just have to be at it. You can't just give up and you be like, okay, why things are not working out for me. You just have to be at it continuously, धीरे 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 करते रहो तो हो जाता है, कुछ ना कुछ हो जाता है. ये नहीं होता तो कुछ और हो जाता, कुछ और नहीं होता तो कुछ और हो जाता. That kind of situation is there.
मेरे को
Yeah.
वो वाला पार्ट बहुत अच्छा लगा. आपने बोला ना कि करते रहो तो हो जाता है. तो समटाइम्स आई आल्सो बिलीव दैट थिंग. सो
Yeah,
आई
yeah,
रियली
yeah.
लाइक द वे यू शेयर. तो मैम लाइक जिंदगी में कुछ हिस्से होते हैं ना लाइक योर स्कूल डेज योर कॉलेज डेज देन योर इन फॉरेस्ट सर्विस नाउ इनटू पुलिस सर्विस एंड
Hmm.
ऑन दिस वे यू हैव मेड अ लॉट ऑफ फ्रेंड्स कलीग्स मेट्स रिलेटिव्स. कभी कभार लगता है जिंदगी में कि एक समय के बाद इंसान थोड़ा सा लोनली और सिलेक्टिव हो जाता है ड्यू टू योर वर्क प्रेशर पर्सनल टाइमिंग ये सब के बीच में.
See, I mean, I would say like, you know, I have a lot more. I'm just into service like for 4 years only, and with
Hmm.
time I would know it better maybe. But if you have friends which you have had for a very long time and which are kind
Hmm.
of your support system, so maybe you get lonely once in a while, which is a normal human nature. We have
हाँ.
fluctuations of moods. Today I might be like happy high, and then other day I'll be like sad for no reason. That happens with everyone. So that sort of things might come and go by, but on a larger scale, you don't really feel that, lonely if you have built up good relationship along the way. So, I mean, I would say till now, what I feel is I have been very fortunate to have really, really good friends along the way you were saying, from college times and from preparation times, and I have them and I still have them in my life. And I know I have a go-to person who is not per se even from services itself, you just they've been there for me for such a long time,
Hmm.
so they know me. So when I say
Hmm.
something, I know they understand. So that definitely, I mean, I don't feel lonely now, and I don't know.
हाँ.
Let's see. Yeah.
So just few years back, I was watching an interview where he was a corporate giant. So there's a term called, dress code mapping. I also came to know about the first time. That is, you might
Okay.
be knowing कि we judge a person, stranger basically, when we meet him or her for the first time, watching their dress code की एक idea लगाते हैं ना, अच्छा ये इंसान ऐसा होगा, ये शायद ऐसे होंगे. So do your daily life policing, do you think it helps somewhat or sometimes you also do? Yeah,
No,
we all do
definitely,
maybe.
definitely. Yeah, definitely. See, I mean, judging someone by the look of them, by their personality, that I personally think is ingrained in our, psyche.
Hmm.
Uh,
Hmm.
and that's like a defense mechanism too, of course,
Hmm.
You meet someone, you see someone, and when you get the good vibe, only then you feel like, okay, maybe I can get comfortable with the person. That is, I'm talking on a personal front. And when we
Hmm.
talk about the professional front, then to certainly like what we are dealing with, we are dealing with criminals on a
Hmm.
regular basis, and then we are
हाँ.
dealing with victims on a regular basis. And a lot of times, the dividing line is not very clear. There's a fine thing. So, what the person is saying, is it true? Is it
Hmm.
like, is the person lying? So you have to judge that every day. So definitely you do that, this thing. And in that also, I would say that, we all have lived a long life and we have our prejudices built up. And a lot of times those prejudices will come in the mind. Like
Hmm.
I was telling you earlier when we were talking personally, like, when you see a well-dressed person, you are maybe a little bit nicer to them than somebody who is
Yeah.
not that, nice to dress. But I do try consciously to not that let that come in my behavior, because what I have realized is that there are people who are not per se literate or educated, but they are really wise, and I
Hmm.
think I value wisdom much more than just education or literacy.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's great. Uh, एक होता है कि मैम अपने प्रोफेशन को दूर से देखा है, you crack the exam and but I want to ask you, how is it in the ground reality? The day you came into the service, and especially about police service, I want to ask you, do you remember the first day you got in charge? How was it?
Yeah, so like any first day of any profession, you'll feel a little nervous for sure.
हाँ.
And I was, of course, a little nervous. And policing is what you are saying. Policing is something you don't, I mean, you have all these notions, a lot of negative notions, I would say, more negative than positive most of the time when you are a normal person. But, once you get into the rhythm of it, you realize like the policing is the kind of profession you have so much of scope to actually help people by not going out of your way. I'm not even saying that you have to be like, you know, uh, it's just part of your work. You just have to be fair at what you are doing, and you might end up doing good for a lot of people naturally. That's how the work
Yeah,
is. I am
yeah.
investigating a case, or I am looking into a matter, and if I am just doing it on the basis of merit, I am helping a person as a part of my job. I don't have to open an NGO. I don't have to go for social service. What I'm doing, if I'm doing it faithfully, that itself is sufficient. So that way, that is the best thing which I like about my profession. And of course, I was nervous, which might be in any profession you enter into. But then as you get the experience, and as you,
Hmm.
interact with more and more people and you handle more and more kind of situations, you get that confidence that yes, like, that is something which I can definitely do and maybe do better than a lot of people and not as good as a lot of people too, but I'll try my best. So that way, that confidence came up with time. And of course, there's training and there are so many seniors which are there to guide you, to tell you like how to go about it. So I think all those contributed and now I feel much more comfortable than when I started. And yeah, I'm learning along the way.
Like you've been to Indian Forest Service as well, or now into Indian Police Service है. तो
Yes,
ये
yes.
दोनों प्रोफेशन की अगर मैं एक्सपीरियंस काउंट करूँ and if I ask you, is there
Hmm.
any moment which still gives you goosebumps or anything you learned, any special moment?
Okay, so yeah, forest service, I did training and there were I mean, I'm talking in a more personal sense in forest service. I hadn't seen much of the places before coming into the forest service. I've lived at my home and I had gotten educated wherever I had gotten educated, and that was all about my exposure to the rest of the country or the places. But while in forest service, we visited a lot of places, and that there were moments that the natural beauty was so, I mean, so serene, so beautiful that it would move you and you would feel thankful and grateful that you got this opportunity to be, at that moment, at that place. So those kind of many little things are there from forest service. And when in police service, one thing I would say that, we have this POP passing out parade. And
Hmm.
I mean, it's like armed forces. You do the parade and you go and everything. And that was a very proud moment because your family comes and they see you in uniforms and
Hmm.
they feel really proud of you. So you kind of end up feeling proud for yourself. And in the professional sense, when I say, so we have done a lot of work and sometimes you would do many things. But there was this, it did not happen. Or there was this one case of kidnapping of a 4-year-old girl, and we were all really, really scared that something might happen to her. And we could trace her within few hours. And when I got to know that she's safe and she's fine, and the case is not the way it was looking you know, in the first instance, so we felt really relieved. And I remember the relief which I felt because I was really scared that something should not happen to the, girl. So that relief
Hmm.
moment you get a lot of times in police, not just it's not
Hmm.
just about the adrenaline rush, the rush and then the back to normal situation that was there. Yeah.
I got a question, and earlier also a lot of people asked me to ask this question. That how is the leave policy in IPS life? छुट्टी कैसे मिलता है? कितना मिलता है?
छुट्टियां होती हैं साल की पीएल होती है यू गेट कैजुअल लीव्स यू गेट पेड लीव्स एंड
Hmm.
एवरीथिंग बट
Hmm.
I mean, see, leaves per se, as a policy, are not scarce. You get plenty of leaves if you go by that, what is there on the sheet. But of course, the job is such that when you're on field, when you're actually, working on the field, say you're
Hmm.
working as an ASP, you're working as an SP, you are definitely not gonna get a lot of leaves because
Hmm.
what you have is a work of leadership and a role of responsibility. So you might go away for a day or 2 day, but if you're thinking you're gonna get a whole week's leave very easily or a whole
Hmm.
month's leave very easily, no, that won't happen while you're on the field job.
Hmm.
Maybe when you are in a non-field position, there are a lot of positions which are in offices and etc. So there maybe you'll get
Hmm.
better leaves,
Hmm.
but
Hmm.
otherwise normal leaves you'll get. But police is a job which is there 24/7, 7 days a week. So
Hmm.
no, not so many leaves on the ground, but on the paper there's
Hmm.
no scarcity. Nothing to worry. Yeah.
Okay. So there's a last question that I want to ask you. I won't take much of your time. That is, I personally feel मुझे ऐसा लगता है कि we are in a world of distraction. So, in a point of view of any aspirant, not only UPSC aspirant, any other aspirant. So, I want to ask you कि how to still stay motivated, your focus within this barrier of distraction. जैसे कि मैम एक एग्जांपल आपको मैं बता भी रहा था उस टाइम पे कि वी ओपन यूट्यूब एंड मुझे कोई कुकिंग शो देखना है और हमने जैसे खोला ना कुछ और आ गया और हम उसको देखते देखते 30 मिनट वेस्ट कर लिया और 30 मिनट बाद पता चलता है अरे हम तो कुछ और देखने वाले थे कुछ और देख रहे थे सो हाउ टू
Hmm.
स्टिल बी फोकस्ड विद दिस डिस्ट्रैक्टिव वर्ल्ड
I mean, I think That's what I was saying. See, this is not easy to give advice for everybody else in these kind of aspects. No, everybody has their own nature and everybody has their own goal. So maybe there's a time when you can afford to do it, and maybe it is healthy also if you're feeling really stressed and you've spent an hour or two, and but after that you're feeling de-stressed and you can actually focus on your studies. So maybe it is not time wasted, it is time utilized.
Hmm.
But if you are, compromising what you really need to do and then just focusing on it, so definitely it's time wasted. And we, especially as a student, you yourself have to bring that discipline in your life.
Hmm.
Okay, if I've decided for half an hour, then maybe I'll put an alarm and I'll do it for half an hour only. And later on, I'll, you know, not invest my time in this thing. That's something which is discipline. And discipline is external. Once you grow up, the external agencies who will, discipline you, who will put discipline in your life will not work unless maybe when you are in a very controlled environment, say in a training setup. Rest of the time, it is you, it is your own goal, and do you think it is worth it to compromise these things for what you are aspiring for is what keeps you motivated. And what I personally feel is like when I used to do this thing, that would be the time when I would be stressed and I would feel a little bit negative. I wouldn't feel very sure कि okay कुछ होना है कि नहीं होना है. So, maybe something like that. So उसमें यही है which I always say कि we have to have this faith कि भाई perseverance रखना है. Perseverance रखते रखते थोड़े से discipline के साथ करते करते you will reach your goal. And if you're not that negative and if you're not that in that kind of mindset, definitely you won't waste time on these kind of things. Try to stay positive and try to enjoy the process of preparation or process of anything what you're doing. Of course, I'm saying this right now, but I know it is very difficult because I've been there, and I know you don't really enjoy and you end up becoming very frustrated a lot of times. But in the hindsight, I would still say that that is only the best solution. There's no other way. You have to keep yourself motivated.
Yeah.
Find some
Thank you
reason
so
to
much.
stay motivated and stay motivated. Yeah.
Thank you so much, ma'am, for giving this time and opportunity. It was really a pleasure to talk to you.
Thank you. Thank you so much.